Okay, welcome to Econto. Today we try to look at Econometrics-I. I'm FH. This course is for undergraduate course. So I did my master's in development economics as well. I did my degree in economics. So chapter 1, introduction. From 1.1, I will give some quick definition and the scope of econometrics. Also, under 1.2 models economic models and econometric models. Then 1.3 we try to look at aim and the methodology of econometrics. Finally, for today's session we close with source and types of data. 1.1 definition and the scope. What is econometrics? Econometrics is come from Greek word econometrics, which is split into oikonomia, which means economy, and metovo, which means measure. So together, econometrics means economic measurement, which measuring unknown values of theoretically defined parameters. It was coined in the 1930s following the foundation of Econometric Society by Ron French and Jan Timurger, founder of Econometrics for the first time. So, econometrics is a summation of economic and metrics in together, which mean measurement of any economic phenomena can be studied under econometrics. For example, law of demand, which says that there is an inverse relationship between price and demand. In order to measure elasticity of demand, we must be using regression. So it is one part of econometrics. So the scope of econometrics is broader than measurement. This is social science in which the tool of economic theory, mathematics, and statistical inference are applied to analyze of economic phenomena. Econometrics converts qualitative statements into quantitative statements. So it is a systematic study of economic phenomena using observed data. So it is possible to say econometrics is a field of knowledge which are past evaluating economic theories in empirical terms. It is defined as a science that deals with measurements of economic relationships through statistical techniques. For example, a relationship between demand for a good and the price of a good. A relationship between job performance and leadership style. A relationship between tuition fee and the number of students enrolled. A relationship between education and earnings. Also, the relationship between student grade performance on CGPA and how of studying. Scope of econometrics. What's the boundary of econometrics? Econometrics can include another subject like statistics, mathematics. If so, how? So econometrics in the first time we have used economic theory. Then we can apply mathematical economics. Finally, collect data in form of by using statistics. So this scope is composed of statistics, economic theory, and the mathematical economics. How? For example, if you look at, we have three Venn diagram. From the first left-hand side Venn diagram, the home shows economics. economics. From the below we have statics. From the right hand side we have maths. We have maths here. So when economics and statics have come together, they have made economic statics with economic status. Here from mathematics plus statics, mathematics plus statics, here we have get mathematical statics. From above economics with mathematics, we have get mathematical economics. For the whole, when we have combined all subjects together, we get econometrics. Okay, econometrics is an integration of economic theory, statistical inference, and the mathematical economics, which was justified by using this simplified Venn diagram. Economic theory makes a statement. What do you mean economic theory? It is theory that makes statements that are qualitative in nature because it is verbal exposition. But mathematical economics is expressing economic theory in mathematical form by using symbols without verification of theory or without empirical testing. But statistics have about inferential, economic or mathematical inferentials, such as dealing with collected data, processing data, then presenting those data. All those three branches, economic theory, mathematical economics, and statistics, they do not provide numerical values or measurements for economic relationship. Theory says something about oral formation. Maths have added some symbol or formula for that relationship. Statistics give data, but they cannot get exactly the value of coefficient or parameter for individual variables in form of measurement. Therefore, economic theory, mathematical economics, and statistics are necessary, but not by itself sufficient condition for understanding real situations. So it is a unification of theory that is powerful that constitutes econometrics, which is described by Frisch in 1913. The difference looks like this. No essential difference between economic theory and the mathematical economics, because they have the same way of expression. Both state economic relationship in exact form. They do not allow for random elements. But econometrics differ from mathematical economics in that it assumes random relationship or stochastic relationship among economic variables. But econometric methods provide numerical values for coefficients of economic phenomena. So econometrics differ from economic statistics in that economic statistics does not concern with testing economic theory. Also, econometrics go and differ away from mathematical statistics in that the latter deal with statistical method of measurement based on controlled experiments. Therefore, it is doing with experimental data. Econometrics use adaptive statistical methods which are adjusted to become appropriate for economic relationship. Therefore, econometrics involves non-experimental or observational data. Econometrics is a set of research tools employed in various business disciplines and social science. Therefore, studying econometrics fills a gap between being a student of economics and being a practice economist. Econometrics is about how we can use economic, business, or social theory data tools from statistics to answer how much type question. It is the application of statistical and mathematical techniques to analyze of empirical data with the purpose of verifying or refuting theories. 1.2 Economic models versus econometric models. What do you mean models? Models are simplified representation of real world. Economic model is an organization set of relationships that describes the function of an economic entity under a set of simplifying assumptions. Economic model consists of three structural elements: set of variables, number of options, a list of fundamental relationships. Economic models postulate exact relationship among variables, which is a deterministic relationship. An econometric model consists of behavioral equation, which derived from economic models, and specification of probability distribution of errors. It also contains random element, which is ignored by economic models. Econometric models has two parts, which is observed variable and other is disturbance. It postulates stochastic or random relationship among variables. For example, economic theory postulates that demand for goods depends on its price, on price of other related goods, on consumers' income, and on tastes. For example, the above-part economic model includes if quantity demanded is equal to by its determinant beta naught, which is intercept, beta 1 is price of commodity itself, beta 2 price of related good PR, plus beta 3 income of the consumer Y, plus beta 4 taste or preference. These four variables are determinants of quantity demanded, which is simplified in form or symbol from variables. When we have add the u at the end, which is error term, to mean there are other factors that can determine quantity demanded, but not included in the equation, which are covered by error term or u. U stands for error term. If you add on economic model u, we get econometric model, which is the second equation. U makes a distinction between economic and econometric models. The main difference between economic modeling and econometric modeling is economic modeling is exact in nature, whereas econometric model contains only stochastic term or indifferent. Why we include error term in the model? Why we have included u or error term in the model? Become makers. In order to hold errors which is not encountered in our model. Econometric model shows exact relationship, but in the real world there is no exact relationship. We may face some errors. Maybe we can forget random, but we can not include the variables which can affect our dependent variable. In order to take on hand which variable is left out of the model, we can add u here. What aims and the methodology of econometrics? Since econometrics have three main goals, the first one is analyze. Next is testing implication of a theory. Then, by verifying how well economic theory explains the observed behavior of economic units, it helps us for analysis. Second, for policy making. By obtaining numerical estimates of coefficient of economic relationship for policy simulations. Then finally for forecasting. To forecast using numerical estimates of coefficients in order to forecast the future values of economic magnitudes for planning economic developments. What are methodologies of econometrics? Econometrics is concerned with measurement of parameters of economic relationship and the predictions of value of variables. Starting with postulate theoretical relationship among economic variables, the following step or stages are going. They are involved in economic research methodology. Generally, specification of the model, estimation of the model, evaluation of estimates, evaluation of forecasting power of estimated model. Together, the summary of econometric modeling look like this, which starts from economic theory. Then from theory, derive mathematical model of the theory, giving a specification for econometric model, collect the data on a specification of the model, giving estimation from collecting data by using some software, startup, or any software inferior which is not free. Then we get test for our hypothesis from estimation. Then we have used it for forecasting or prediction. Finally, we are using it for this model for policy purpose. This all is summary or typology of econometric modeling. What's the desirable property of econometric model? Its goodness. The goodness of an econometric model is judged according to the following desirable properties. The first one is theoretically plausible. The model should be compatible or consistent with postulates of economic theory. Second, its explainability. The model should be able to explain observations of actual worlds, the accuracy estimate of the parameters. The model should estimate as best as possible the true parameters of the model. Finally, forecasting ability of econometric model gives several property. How the model should be produce satisfactory prediction for future value of dependent variables. The final, its simplicity. The first equation, and the simpler the mathematical form, the better the model is considered. Set as follows. 1.4 Source and types of data. Econometrics in absence of data would not exist, so we need data. Different types of data have their own advantages and limitations. Data can be qualitative or quantitative. There are three types of data as well: cross-sectional, time series, and panel data. When we have, say, cross-sectional data collected from different parts of an entity at a given point in time, for example, survey of consumer expenditure in 2020 or 2010. Time series data is a set of observations on a variable or several variables over time, which collected at regular intervals, daily, weekly, or monthly, quarterly, annually, quinquennial, and decennial, like data on weather reports, money supply, data on weather report, which is daily report, money supply, which is weekly, daily also, inflation, weekly, economic growth, GDP, weekly, monthly, government budget, weekly, monthly, population census, all are time series data. When we talk about panel or longitudinal data in which there are the same cross-sectional units, individual, household, firm, or counties surveyed over time. So it is a combination of first two data type, cross-sectional with time series. For example of cross-sectional data, we have 10 individuals. We are asked for their consumption, for their income, for their age. We have asked their sex, at specific points of the period of time in 2020 or in 2021 if it is survey. For different entity, we have asked survey in only one period. Answer the data. Any period for specific objects or entity. We have stated above, for example, data for Ethiopia or data for Kenya or data for China. China's data from 2007 to 2015 about their economic growth, their inflation, foreign investment. We have tried to look here foreign investment or financial development, investment, government expenditure, gross domestic saving. This data is collected for one entity at n t time period. This is time series data. In combine, when you have get both times this, more than 1 to time period, like start from 2011 to 2015, 2011, 2015, 2011, 2015 for different entities, different time period, different entities, or what we observe: Canada, Ethiopia, Kenya. We have serial entity. We have 5 years. This is all cross-sectional plus time series. Observe Human Development Index data, ESG, foreign direct investment, financial development, urban population. This is all about panel data. Thank you for today's listening. This is for chapter 1. Next we try to look at chapter 2. If you have any suggestion, comment, welcome.